For me, Joe, it's the worst part of the job, probably the only bad part of the job because I'm in a fortunate position. Whereas I went through that myself at their age, so I know firsthand what they're kind of going through in them conversations where you kind of end in their dreams and.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of All Wednesday. We've got a very special guest this week because we're joined by Andy Sharp, who has just masterminded a very, very good run of form for Sheffield Wednesday's under-18. Sadly, it did come to an end recently. Andy, thank you very much for joining us. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks to you.
Yeah, very, very good. Thank you. As I mentioned there, obviously the season did end in disappointment ultimately, but I think it was 12 wins out of 13 going into the end of the regular season. Especially given how young this group of players are, even within the under-18 setup. How proud are you of this group of players?
Yeah, really proud. It's impossible not to be. Really, it's been such a great group to work with. It kind of unfolded a little bit unexpectedly with how sort of young the group was sort of turned out towards the end. We kind of had it in our minds, as we always do, to drop younger players in sort of at some point in the season. But that kind of, for one reason or another, happened a little bit earlier than expected. So it just kind of evolved, really. And then, yeah, so the turning point, really, Christmas time. I remember we played Birmingham. Sort of first game back after Christmas, probably our best performance of the season. Yeah, and then it kind of just snowballed from there and kept on going. They kept sort of responding and yeah, sort of to lead it really is a real privilege. And you spoke about being proud there. It's one of the things I spoke to the players after the game at Ashton Gate. Obviously, the emotions were running high and the players were down, and there's nothing I could say. I said to them, nothing I could say to take that away. But it's really important that they understand sort of the journey they've been on and how proud we are as staff to. Certainly the staff that work with them on a daily basis, but also the wider staff at the football club of sort of you kind of sense that it starts to build, and when you put a little bit of a run together, you're getting a coffee in the morning, and one or two staff that sometimes don't speak to you, they're busy with other things. They want to know how you got on at the weekend. They want to know if the run's still going on and how many you scored. And yeah, so it's good at any level, whether it's first team or sort of down to the younger age groups. Everybody likes success and everybody wants to kind of sort of ask about it and they take an interest in it. So yeah, to kind of be in touch with that on a daily basis, it does make you proud when you work with them for so long. We say to the players, when you look at it from sort of hours in a day perspective, I tell them I invest more sort of hours in them than I do my own children. So yeah, it's to see them do so well and to grow and develop on and off the pitch. It's absolutely proud is the right word to use.
Yeah, I suppose when I talk about under-18s and saying it's a young group, people might not maybe grasp because they're all young. But like there is a big gap, isn't there? Physically, mentally, like everything that goes into being a professional footballer. 16 and 18, the difference between a 26-year-old and a 28-year-old is not that big, but at that level, there's a big gap, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like situation we've always had some under 15s involved with us, one or two. I mean, you see the difference. It's tough for them, like you alluded to. Probably the biggest and most obvious challenge for them is the physical difference.
Mm.
Depending when the birthdays fall, some of them boys are kind of 3 years older than you,
Yeah.
which makes a big difference. So yeah, it's like you say, it's challenging for a number of reasons, not just physically. It's the boys are in school, so they're trying to sort of manage that. So you've got some of the boys who are in with us full time on the apprenticeship, but then you've got other members who are sort of juggling school and at this time of year, sort of back end of the season, exams, pressures, and that kind of thing. So yeah, there's a whole kind of things that people don't really consider and think of, I suppose, till you get working in it that you've got to be mindful of.
No, I'm sure. On that note, how rewarding is it for you as a job? To have these groups of players that you're seeing in school, and then you're taking them from literally a school setting to playing on a professional football pitch at Ashton Gate, like getting to play at Hillsborough and stuff. Like from a personal perspective for you, how rewarding is this whole process?
Brilliant. I think that's why we sort of do the job. That's why we work in youth football. I remember back when I was sort of 17, 18 and moving into sort of adulthood, I remember my dad telling me that you kind of, in your working life, you you do your job for kind of any combination of three reasons. It's either for financial reward for obvious reasons, or it's because you would get enjoyment from it. You sort of love doing it, or it's that you're learning. Sort of, and certainly me, from a personal point of view, in a privileged position to be sort of ticking all three of them boxes every day. So yeah, it's brilliant to sort of work with them young players and get that kind of job satisfaction from it.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's in youth football to get rich, certainly. So.
Yeah, maybe some of the agents. But just on the Wednesday Academy, obviously there's been a bit of a change recently. Yeah, Steve Haslam, Hazzy was there for it felt like forever. John Pepper's come in and taken over after Hazzy moved on. What's been some of the sort of more exciting elements of John's plans so far and what he's trying to bring to the academy?
Yeah, like you've alluded to there, it's a big change for everybody. I think across any industry, any organisation, when kind of a senior member of staff there's a change at that level, it's difficult for everybody because obviously the workforce that's in place, the staff that are here, they're a little bit apprehensive because it's somebody new coming in, so you don't know how they're going to be as a person unless you know them from previously. But I don't think many of us did. We sort of knew of John and the success he's had and the experience he's got as an academy manager. That goes without saying. But there's always any change, certainly at the kind of senior level. It's like at first team level when a first team
Yeah.
manager changes, there's apprehensions and yeah, so it's difficult from that perspective, but I think what gets overlooked is it's difficult for that individual as well. So for John coming in, again, he's got them apprehensions himself. It's a new staff, new football club to work for, and I think the biggest challenge for anybody coming in that position is to spend some time kind of soaking it all up and observing. And I think very much this first period since the change happened at sort of December, I think that's been John's focus. He's kind of observing and he made it really clear he wasn't coming in to make sweeping changes straight away and
Mm.
micromanage people. And so, yeah, from a personal level, it's been very good from that aspect. Yeah, and I think the most exciting thing for us as staff is it's become clear that obviously he's in it for the right reasons. On a basic level, he wants things to be as good as they can be for the young players and use his experience and his knowledge to maybe tweak one or two things and make some changes. And I think when you're developing young players, it's really important to understand that kind of the environment that they're working in, the environment that you create for them is really important. The program that you're delivering, so the program that they're working towards, has to be right for them, um, and also the opportunity. And it goes back to kind of what we've done with the under-18s this year. That young players want the opportunity.
Mm.
If you can kind of get those three things at the forefront of what you're doing, which is what John's keen to do, I think then yeah, that you're onto a good thing. So that's
Yeah, no.
really looking ahead. That's the most exciting thing is that those kind of three main threads to what we do.
Yeah, no, it's really really exciting to hear. It's been a very interesting period for the Wednesday U setup. I know you probably don't want to talk too much about individuals because it is a team game after all. But there has been a couple of players that have really set the scene alight this season. Caelan-Kole, Cadamarteri, Will Grainger. I know they've played for their international youth teams. They've scored a lot of goals between them. Set up each other quite a lot as well, from what I can gather. What's it been like for them? Obviously, they're playing up age groups. They're playing in an age that they probably shouldn't be yet. Um, how exciting are they? Are those two in particular, as youngsters, as developmental projects? Like, how excited are you about what they could go on to be?
Yeah, there's obviously an element of excitement because you don't know. It's even us working with them day in day out. You don't know how far they're going to go and what levels they're going to reach. You've seen it with young players, sort of over the past few years at this club and other clubs up and down the country. And that's part of the exciting element of youth football. You try and push them, you try and challenge them. You don't know when they're going to have dips and challenges, setbacks, how they're going to respond to them. But yeah, to I know you're keen to talk about them two individuals. The way they've responded to it has been credit to them, their families. Yeah, fantastic. It came a little bit earlier than we expected. Like I alluded to earlier, we spoke about sort of the young players, the next group. They were doing well at sort of under 15, under 16. So you have to be mindful of that. But the challenge is understanding when it's right to stretch them and challenge them. And it was always in our mind to put them players in the under 18 environment at some point this season. Just came a little bit earlier than what we'd planned. There was a couple of injuries in those positions, and like I say, credit to the boys, they kind of took to it like a duck to water and sort of just kept on going with it.
Mm.
And that's really your job. It's you have to be mindful of what's the right thing at the right time for them, and if they respond to it in a positive way, then I think the right thing to do is to keep them in there. And but everybody speaks about the wins and the success, and it's not really about that. Certainly for me, I've got to be mindful of it's what's right for those individual players, and absolutely, it's been the right thing for them to be in and around the 18s from that point onwards.
Yeah, we've got about a minute and a half before the break, but just before we go to that break, you mentioned it there. Like, how do you find that balance? You know, the trying to walk that tightrope between a need to develop and a desire to win. Like, is that quite a difficult thing to manage?
I can see why people think it is from one perspective. It's kind of looked after itself really this year. You can see as the young players come into the group, the runs kind of kept going and the goals kept coming and the successes. So it's been an easy one to manage. But yeah, I just think it's mindful that it's not about winning football matches with
Mm,
youth players. Anybody who works in sport, certainly at an elite level, you're innately competitive. So that winning sort of behaviours and winning mentalities, they come out naturally in training sessions on a daily basis, and certainly a match at the weekend. I think everybody goes into it trying to win it. But yeah, if you're getting that individual development right and the program correct for the players, that kind of goes hand in hand.
yeah, no, I think it's youth football has always fascinated me because you know I realised at like 13 years old that I was never going to be good enough to play pro, and then you see these kids now as a grown adult, and I see these like 14, 15, 16 year olds, and you're like, yeah, yeah, no, my level was way off that. Hello, welcome back to this week's episode of All Wednesday. We're back with Andy Sharp, the under 18s manager at Sheffield Wednesday. Andy, just before the break, we're talking about the sort of tightrope of desire to win and a need to develop and that side of things. Youth football is interesting because there's very specific rules in place, right, about when you can do certain things. I want to ask you because it's something that gets brought up quite a lot with me when especially when young talents are sort of coming through. Um, because they have to be certain ages to offer certain things. Can you just give us a little bit of insight into what that timeline looks like?
Yeah, to be honest, I'll be open and honest. I don't get involved too much in that side of things in terms of the position I work in at the minute. So yeah, probably speaking to the wrong person to get any kind of concrete, correct information. But yeah, you're right. There are kind of regulations around of it, and I'm aware of that. For example, it happened this season with the FA Youth Cup. So we were obviously Caelan was in the team at the time as an under 15. He was 15 at the time. Um, and our understanding of it, certainly my understanding of it, that he was too young to play in the Youth Cup. But again, these rules kind of change and people's perceptions of them are different. So we did some digging at the time to actually read the small print, so to speak. And it turns out that he was eligible to play. It was whether your opposition was a non-league team or a football league team. There was kind of a rule around that. So because we obviously played Bristol, who were in the football league, he was eligible to play. So yeah, it's just being aware of those kind of things, and yeah, it's just obviously the natural procedure is the boys are on the part time model as schoolboys, and then they reach kind of the under 16 age, and then they're offered an apprenticeship with the club. We've got 11 boys coming in next season, hit the ground running in pre-season as the new first year apprentice group. And obviously the six lads that have been first year this year move up to the second year, and that's a 2 year apprenticeship program, and then sort of a club decisions made whether they go on to kind of become a first year pro and stay with the club or move on to the
Mm,
next chapter of their journey. So
yeah. I was going to ask you about that because it is that time of year now where decisions get made on who will and won't have a career at Sheffield Wednesday. From a human perspective, I know you say there you have kids of your own. Like, is it a difficult sort of period this for you guys to have those conversations with people, especially given that the age that they are? Like, is it quite a difficult conversation to have?
Yeah, it's the, for me, Joe. It's the worst part of the job, probably the only bad part of the job because I'm in a fortunate position. Whereas I went through that myself at their age, so I know firsthand what they're kind of going through in them conversations where you kind of end in their dreams and they see
Mm,
themselves staying at the football club, playing at Hillsborough and playing for Sheffield Wednesday, and all of a sudden you're having a conversation where that's kind of come crashing down and come to an end. So really, my job, I see it in them moments, is to let them know that I've been there and I know what they're feeling and what they're going through. And obviously, everybody reacts differently. I understand that, but it's you're there to support them, and it is tough because obviously their families are emotionally attached to them. But certainly, us staff who work with the under-18s on a daily basis, you become emotionally attached to them as well because,
mm,
like I've said before, you invest so much time with them, and you build such a strong relationship with them. You go through ups and downs, and everything that football brings together. And there's everything off the field as well with the program with the under-18 apprenticeship. They go through their education journey, and you
mm.
share all those experiences with them. Driving tests, things, sort of milestones in their personal life. Officially, legally becoming an adult, etc. And it sounds daft, but it's things you go through with your own children. You're going through with them as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really difficult. But yeah, the key is that they're supported, and that's never been better. Certainly, when I went through it, there was very little support. It was kind of you got your decision, your world come crashing down. It was over to your parents to
Mm.
kind of scoop you up and move you on to whatever's next in your life. And but yeah, now the support in football at that time is excellent. It's phenomenal, and especially here at Sheffield Wednesday, that continues for. Only the other day, I got an email from an apprentice that left us, I think, 2 years ago. The support's still sort of ongoing with the next career step for them that they're exploring, and obviously the PFA are there, and yeah, there's support from all angles to kind of
Yeah.
scoop you up and support you to what's next, and that's the important bit. But yeah, it is difficult.
I did want to touch on that because I remember speaking to Hazi before, and he was saying how much help Wednesday try and be to the players, whether they leave at schoolboy level or whether they make it all the way through to the 21s, end up moving on there. Is that still sort of at the heart of what you try and do to make sure that there is a lasting support base there for these lads that don't make it at Wednesday?
Yeah, 100%. Yes, obviously, like I just alluded to there, we still get contact from boys not only when they need help, but they come and watch games, and we catch up with them
Mm,
and we see them. Without sounding too corny, it's like a family, really. We say, the support never stops, even when they walk out the gate for the final time. If they've come to the end of the journey with the football club, it's not the end of sort of who they are and what we think about them and what we want for them. We'll always be here to support them.
mm.
Yeah, and that's a real. I'm sure it's the same at many football clubs, but yeah, it's one thing that kind of endears me to this football club. It really is a sort of a family football club, and yeah, really good from that perspective.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. Obviously, we spoke about Caelan and Will before, but there are a lot of players at the football club right now, especially between sort of under 16, under 21s, but are sort of on the lower end of that spectrum, who have become very, very highly rated. I know there's a lot of people watching a lot of Wednesday's players at the moment. You must be very optimistic about sort of what the future holds for Wednesday with all that taken into account.
Yeah, 100%. And that's, you picked out a couple of individuals earlier, but players go kind of under the radar when those two lads are kind of in the press coverage and everyone's talking about the goals scored and all that. But I was thinking on the way back from Bristol, we was looking at it and I was talking to Giles about it. We've got, I think we've hit 10 or 11 across the under 15, under 16 players that have been involved with the under-18s, and I'm talking not in friendly games, in
Mm,
competitive games. So yeah, phenomenal, really, from that perspective. That sort of we think they're in a position where they can come into that group and in a competitive game, and we think it's the right thing for them. So yeah, there's certainly a number of individuals beyond kind of the two that you've picked out today.
yeah.
But yeah, like I say, there's 11 coming in on the first day of pre-season, new first years. It'd be interesting to see how they kind of take to the full-time program, and everybody develops at different rates, and that's youth football. So
Yeah. That must be a fascinating thing for especially at this time of year because they're young lads who are at that age where a few months can make a big difference. Do you often find that, like, you'll say goodbye to someone in, May, June, they come back in August and they've shot up or they've booked out, and they just look like a completely different person.
Yeah, 100%. You find that. I used to find it when I worked in schools as a teacher. We used to joke about it, and it's the same in football. They kind of disappear off of the summer break, the off season in football, the 6 weeks holidays in school,
Mm.
and they come back different people. And yeah, it's one thing I learnt quite quickly in youth football. I remember talking to Neil Thompson about it. He said like your first years, he says don't expect too much of them before Christmas because most of them take time to settle from that part-time program coming out of school
Mm.
into the full-time model. It's so busy and so demanding, not just on the pitch but off the pitch across the program. They find it difficult. Some of them take to it straight away, but it's always a voyage of discovery. Who kind of what challenges they have and who responds quicker than others. And but yeah, the first years who are moving up to a second year, they come in. It's almost like you've signed some different players that you didn't know about over the summer.
Yeah, no, I can imagine.
Yes, good.
Um, just on that, sort of looking up the ladder, into the first team, into the seniors, how useful is it for you as a coach to have your Pierce Charles and Bailey Cadamarteris and Gabor Bios, guys who've gone on through the academy to play championship minutes, and they've all come at different ages as well. You had Bailey, who's been there in the academy for a long, long time. Gabs and Pierce have been brought in a little bit later on. To have those different types of success stories must be really, really useful.
100%, because like I spoke about earlier, three big things for me certainly is kind of the environment that you create on a daily basis for a young player, the program that you put in place for them to sort of grow and progress and develop. But the other thing they want is the opportunity, and all players want that. Certainly, young players, they're hungry for it. They're sort of fearless in that respect, and it's our job as staff to manage that. So to have examples like you've spoken about there in the first team, it just shows them firsthand that the pathway is there, and that's another great thing about this football club is what I love about it is if the players are at the level and they are good enough and it's the right thing for them as an individual, the opportunity is there to take and go on that pathway and be around the first team, as you've seen with those players that you've spoken about there.
Yeah, no, and it's a it creates a sustainability within the football club as well, doesn't it? Just before we wrap up, having just missed out on the title this year, I got so close to it. I presume from a competitive perspective, the goal for next season is to go a little bit further, make the final, possibly win it. Um, but obviously, I know there's a development element as well. Um, the experiences that a lot of these lads have gained from this season, because they will still be in the 18s. How confident are you that you can kick on both from a development and from a success perspective as well?
Yeah, listen, there's obviously no guarantees. You don't know what challenges you're going to face along the way, injuries crop up, that kind of thing. For example, not making excuses, but we spoke about it. Obviously, Ernie, the captain of the group, has had a torrid time with injury and he rolled his ankle 3 days before the semi-final. So that ruled him out of that, and that had a big impact. So, yeah, when you talk about winning football matches at any level, there's so many things that can come into play. That's why I keep the focus on sort of the development side of it, and you just hope that the winning mentality, the competitive edge of the players and the staff involved kind of bubbles away in the background and takes care of itself as it has done certainly the back end of this season. But yeah, confident.
Yeah.
We've got some good young players to work with. There's no doubt about that. I think anybody who kind of has got a lens on the academy here at Sheffield Wednesday, they know that there's some good young players.